welcome back to Local Decision, and thank you for joining us. I'm Rusty Ray. We're joined today by Spring Lake Park School Board member Marilynn Forsberg. Marilynn, running for re-election again.
Yes.
And if you don't mind me asking, this would mark another term, and already you've been on the school board in Spring Lake Park since?
I was first elected in 1982, so it's been a while.
That's quite a legacy, I'd say, already.
Yes.
So why run again? There's so much that's happening right now, and there's so much that's happened here recently in your tenure. Why decide to run again?
Well, I carry this little saying around in my purse and have it around my house. It's attributed to John Wesley. It says, do all the good you can by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. So that's sort of my personal philosophy. I have found being on the board extremely interesting. One never masters it all because changes keep coming. So it's just been very interesting, and it's an opportunity to serve kids.
And it seems in that time that you've been able to serve in many capacities, many roles within the school board, and then representing the school board on larger levels too. Am I right about that?
That's correct. I've held every office in our board, as well as a lot of committees and other groups within the school district. And then I am currently the chair of the Northeast Metro 916 Intermediate School District. I've served on the Minnesota School Boards Association board, and I do things outside of school as well. I've been president of our homeowners association, and I'm very active within my church. And just for some activity during the last year and a half, I've made well over 100 of these.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I do a variety of things in addition to the Spring Lake Park Board.
What is different? What's the most striking difference in Spring Lake Park Schools of 2021 versus Spring Lake Park Schools of the early 80s when you first began and your 4 children were coming up through the system at that point? What's the biggest difference in those 40 years?
Well, probably 2 things in particular. Facilities certainly have changed. My elementary students went to Kenneth Hall School, which is no longer there. And of course, there was no school at Center Point or North Point. So those facilities have been updated and changed, and we're very, very proud of them. The other thing that I feel is that early on, the programming was sort of one size fits all, whereas now we're into personalized learning and considering students a great deal more than we did at the beginning of time.
Does that mean offering various programs that can tailor towards a particular career, or if not a college track, then a career track or things like that, if that's what students are interested in pursuing?
Yes, we have a number of those programs, and we also try to find out what kids are really interested in, what makes a particular student tick, and provide the services that they need.
And you've spoken and you wrote to us, and the information we provided for our viewers on northmetrotv.com, that you are interested and continue to be interested in making sure that young people understand the value of that high school diploma.
Absolutely. I have grandchildren who have struggled through high school, and yet some of the one that struggled the most is currently a student in community college and doing well. So I think that students need that encouragement, particularly if they're struggling students, to realize that maybe they aren't going to go to college next year, or maybe they're interested in a trade, but that a high school diploma really is the key that unlocks the door, and certainly improved wages and many, many more opportunities if you're a high school graduate.
What do you think might be the reasons why that's not emphasized more than it is, or even in society or even in the education system? Are there reasons why maybe that's not emphasized, and maybe in the past, or even when I was in school, it was college, trade, or maybe in some cases military. Those were the three options that people most widely discussed. But the diploma is what leads to all of those.
That's correct.
So are there things in society that maybe are de-emphasizing what it is you hope to emphasize?
Well, we just thought some students didn't have the ability. That's really been proven untrue. Some students have difficult situations that either they're working or they have home situations that don't lead real well to education. Some kids just think that school is dumb, and we hope to have engaged, enthusiastic learners, and I think that that's probably some of the issues that deal with that. But I think a diploma is so important. You look at ads, of which there aren't very many print now, but most of them require a high school education. So to get ahead and to have a meaningful life, please graduate.
How would you rate how the district, from Jeff, the superintendent, on down, and then the school board, have handled the challenge of COVID and all the different challenges that have been met now into its third school year, having an impact on students and staff and families? How has the district handled it, in your opinion?
Well, I think that we've probably done as good a job as we can. There are those who say, just tell us what you're going to do. Well, COVID hasn't been very good about telling us what we need to do. But we have followed the science, and the safety of our staff and students is extremely important. So we continue to do what seems to be appropriate to keep students in school. This year we are committed to doing in-person school. We may have some bumps along the way, but that's our plan. However, we also have a state-approved online learning, so that's an option for students as well.
In many communities, everywhere, there's been a lot of contention over these issues and what parents think students should or should not have to do, or should or should not be allowed to do in terms of remaining in school or mandates for this or for that. Have you seen some of that? Are you hearing some of that from folks in the community? And how has the district addressed that?
Well, we've had about 60 parents at one of our recent school board meetings. However, I need to commend those individuals because they have been very respectful. They were pretty much evenly divided on the mask situation, but no fights, no run-ins, and so we were very, very appreciative that they were very respectful of one another. And we will just continue to follow the guidelines of the Minnesota Department of Health and the Minnesota Department of Education.
Are there some things coming out of COVID when things do get back to a more normal situation? I said that sitting in this chair a year ago to candidates, and it felt like by now we would have, but I think still eventually it'll happen. Do you think that there are components of what the district has done or added? You mentioned the online learning component, something like that, that will continue on and can only strengthen the district moving forward?
Yes, absolutely. Some of the teaching methods, a lot of videos, a lot of things that were done during that COVID time are being carried over, and it's much better. And it's all about the students.
Mm-hmm. What, if not for COVID, what do you think that the district would be dealing with? Were there things that had started to develop before all this hit that the district and the school board were trying to focus on or make long-term plans to address? Is there anything there that maybe got pushed aside or you would like to see advanced if not for COVID?
Well, the district really did a good job even during COVID of doing some of the plans that had been put in place, and that will continue. Evaluating curriculum and putting new curriculum, a whole new language arts program was put in place during the pandemic. So we haven't put aside the normal things, we've just added more things that needed to be done during the pandemic.
And figured out how to do them.
Yes.
One of your board colleagues was here recently. We had the same conversation, and he spoke about how he felt like the communication between the school board and the teachers in the district was pretty strong, that there was a good give and take and there was a good understanding and respect, I think is a word that he used. How do you feel the district and the district leadership and the board handles how it hears from teachers? Are they responsive to what teachers are asking for or are reflecting, or could they do better?
There are ongoing conversations between the administration and particularly the teachers' union, and that has made all of our concerns and negotiation processes much more smooth than in a number of districts. For example, we had an agreement with our teachers' union on their contract for this year and next before the school year ended last year. Very unusual to have that happen. I know now of a number of districts who have really not even begun any negotiations, leave alone have settlements. So it's very wonderful to have that done before a school year starts.
In the footprint of the district, touching Fridley, Spring Lake Park, and certainly Blaine, Blaine is where we're seeing tremendous population growth and development, not only in numbers of people, but the diversity of people choosing to call Blaine home, and in large part that's because of the school districts here, and certainly Spring Lake Park Schools is a part of that. Are there things in the next 4 years even if for the next school board to tackle or to look at in terms of how to address that or how to capitalize on that growth within the district?
Well, growth is always a plus because that brings in additional dollars with additional students, and that means that we can do more things, give kids more opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you would like to add that I didn't ask? You've got all this experience. You've seen so many things, both here recently in the past couple of years and certainly over the past several decades. Anything else you wanted to bring up that I didn't ask? I've asked pretty much what I've asked the other candidates, so I'd give you a chance to say something.
Well, my campaign materials say leadership, experience, and commitment. And I think I've had some very good leadership experience with far more boards than we've ever talked about. I've certainly been committed to this district. I think that one of the things that I say I think a school board member should be is a cheerleader for their district. And I have supported the district in that way. And I've certainly made a commitment. I say children are the future that we can do something about today. So serving this many years, I think that's a pretty good example of a commitment, and I would like to continue to do that.
All right. Marilynn Forsberg, thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.